Thank you, Chairman Grassley. Thank you, Ranking Member Durbin. Thank you, members of the committee. I want to begin today by thanking President Trump for the great honor of this nomination. I also want to thank the Texas senators, Senator Cornyn and Senator Cruz, for recommending me to the White House, for their support throughout this nomination process, and for their very kind introductions today. With me today, up from Texas, is my family. Most importantly, my wife, Rebecca Davis. We've been married 18 years. We met in high school, and none of this would have been possible without her love and support. She has incredible patience, kindness, and has sacrificed much for our family. With us today are also our 3 kids. They are very excited to be here in DC. My youngest especially is loving the amount of snow that she's never seen in her life. With me also from Texas, from Lubbock, where my parents still reside, is my parents, Dorothy Davis and Glenn Davis. They are lifelong educators, and I couldn't have asked for a better example of parents. They've shown me strength of character, the ability to live with humility, and what a loving, lasting partnership looks like. Not with us today, but I also want to thank my in-laws, Roger and Mary Satoff, for treating me as one of their own and their support and love throughout the years. Lastly, I want to thank all the people who've supported me throughout my career in this process that cannot be here today. Specifically in that category, I'd like to thank my first 2 bosses for whom I had the privilege to clerk, Judge Sidney Fitzwater of the Northern District of Texas and Judge Rena Raggi of the United States Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit. It is an honor of a lifetime to be sitting here before you, and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you, Chairman Grassley, Ranking Member Durbin. Thank you, Senator Kennedy, for that generous introduction and for your support. I thank Senator Cassidy for his support as well. And thank you to all members of the committee for considering my nomination. It is a tremendous honor to be before you today. I thank President Trump for the honor of this nomination. I'm joined today by my husband, Scott. We celebrated our 20-year anniversary last month, and our marriage is one of the great blessings of my life. Another is my children, Charles, Bertie, Anna Douglas, and Jack, are also here today. I'm joined as well by my brother, Derek, whom along with my other siblings, I'm proud to call not just my family, but also my friend. My life has been marked by the generosity of so many mentors, colleagues, and friends who have shared their knowledge, wisdom, and time over the years. I thank those who are here today and to all of my family members and friends who are supporting me from afar. I'd like to say a special thanks to Judge Risa Barksdale, for whom I clerked. My clerkship was a foundational experience during which I had the opportunity to see judicial integrity at the highest level. Finally, there are 2 people who are not here physically today, but I know are watching from above. Those are my parents, Libby and Chuck Wagner. They created a foundation of faith and family that I will always carry with me, and I would not be here without their tremendous sacrifices and support. Again, I'm so honored to be here, and I look forward to the committee's questions.
Thank you, Ms. St. John. Now, Judge Thomas, or Shepard.
Thank you, Chairman Grassley, Ranking Member Durbin, members of the committee. I want to thank you for the privilege and the opportunity to appear before you today. I'd like to thank President Trump for the high honor of this nomination. I want to thank Senator Bozeman and Senator Cotton for their kind words this morning about myself and my family. I want to thank them for their support throughout the process and for their dedicated service to the nation and the people of the great state of Arkansas. Senator Cotton introduced my family, so I will not list them. There are a lot here. I will mention my sister's kids who he didn't list and would be upset with me if I did not list them. Shepard, Rebecca, and John Robert are here supporting me today. Also have a dear friend from law school, a friend of my wife and myself, Robin Wright Cleary, who is an exceptional Arkansas attorney who works here and lives here in the Washington, D.C. area. When you live in a small town, you have a lot of support, and I want to thank the people of South Arkansas for their encouragement and support throughout the process. Also, I know they wouldn't forgive me, but my teammates on the Rice football team and coaches who have reached out and supported me I want to give them a special acknowledgement. I greatly appreciate all their support. Finally, I do want to thank my family for their love and support through the years. I was lucky to be raised in a family that instilled the importance of hard work, public service, and a faith in God. And I know that has carried me through the various chapters of my career and has brought me here today. And I look forward to answering your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Shepard. Now, Mr. Wolf.
Thank you, Chairman Grassley, Ranking Member Durbin, to the committee for considering my nomination. And thank you to President Trump for the great honor of that nomination. I'm also grateful to Senators Cornyn and Cruz for recommending me to the President and for your support along the way and for your very generous introductions. Thank you. I was born and raised in Lubbock, Texas, and I had the great privilege of having parents who loved me, who encouraged me, and sacrificed for me. My mother, Jill Wolf, passed away 20 years ago, and my father, Billy Wolf, passed away 3 years ago. Both would be incredibly proud that their only child sits before you today. My dad drove trucks and roughnecked when I was young until he finally got admitted into law school when I was in elementary school. I spent my youth traveling with him all over West Texas, watching him try cases. It was during that time that I developed a high view of the law and concluded that being a judge would be a noble calling. Here today with many family and friends that I don't have the time or ability to adequately thank, but I'm still thankful for their support. Also here with my family, starting here with my wife, my amazing wife and best friend, Sarah. She's here with 5 of my 6 kids, Asher, Samuel, Joseph, Nathan, and our daughter, Lois. And my oldest son, Graham, couldn't be here today. He's currently on deployment as a Navy surface warfare officer. Grateful to be here. Happy to answer your questions. Thank you.
Thank you all very much for your opening statements. I'm going to start with Mr. Cicada. We have 5 minutes each. You've been deputy director. You've been there a long time. You know what works and doesn't work. So given your unique perspective, what are your priorities for the Bureau if confirmed?
Good morning, Senator. Thank you for your question. The top priorities for ATF will remain violent crime in the forms of illegal use of firearms, illegal use of explosives, and criminal acts of arson. We will prioritize those efforts as we work with our state and local partners around the country. As you stated earlier, and we discussed 2 days ago, ATF is a small agency, and we are interdependent on our state and local partners. We currently have about 1,400 task force officers. We have firm commitments with our partners to continue using crime gun intelligence, E-Trace, NIBIN, and DNA to work with our partners to identify who the scourges of their communities are, the people that are responsible for using firearms illegally to commit violent crime, and ATF will do that as our primary focus. We will also attempt to use the budget that we've been allocated to modernize some critical systems that are used to work with our industry partners with, for example, the forms and licensing systems are over 25 years old, and they're very antiquated and cause significant delays in processing of forms, which unnecessarily burden the American public and the industry members. I think that would be a significant efficiency. And then, in turn, we will make sure that during the next several years, we follow President Trump's Second Amendment executive order to review all ATF policies, procedures, and regulations to ensure that none of those infringe upon the Second Amendment unnecessarily.
You and I discussed the whistleblower that exposed $20 million of waste because of fraudulent activity within ATF. Thank you for doing that, but I also hope that emphasizes listen to every whistleblower so they never have to come to Congress and seek the protection of whistleblower protection laws. Now to Mr. Davis. You've had an impressive career, worked across different branches of government. So how did your work in the different branches of government shape your perspective for being a federal judge?
Thank you, Senator. Specifically in government, the opportunity to serve as a Assistant Solicitor General in Texas was very formative to me in terms of understanding the role in a courtroom. When I became an appellate advocate, argued a number of cases, I learned what it was like to appear in front of judges that would give respect, that were treating cases fairly, impartially, that were seeking to find the right answer and apply the law without fear or favor. One of the things I learned most from working for this body is before I arrived here, I had a sense in my academic career and my practice that legislative history was not something I wanted to rely on if I were ever to be a judge. And being here taught me about the process of lawmaking. It taught me about how law bills become law. It taught me about presentment. It taught me all the factors that come into it, and that really only the text is the thing that is put forward as law. It's the only thing that survives bicameralism and presentment. And from that experience in being around this body, that formed how I would think about statutory interpretation if I were so lucky as to be confirmed as a judge.
Thank you. Ms. St. John, your advocacy has covered numerous areas of the law, including class actions, administrative disputes, and constitutional questions, among others. How have your experiences across these areas of law prepared you to step into the role of a federal judge, a role which by its nature is necessarily generalized?
I have had the opportunity to handle a number of different types of matters throughout my career. I've been very fortunate in that regard. And so I do believe that I've learned how to approach new areas of the law and get up to speed on them quickly. And throughout that process, I've learned both that the rule of law is the primary centerpiece of the practice, and I have a deep and abiding respect for that.
Thank you. Now I've got just 13 seconds left. Mr. Shepard, please tell us what you've learned from these roles that have advocacy on both sides of criminal cases that best prepare you for the federal bench.
Thank you, Chairman Grassley. Can I continue? Can I answer the question?
Yes.
Okay. Well, certainly being on both sides of issues, both in the criminal context and the civil context, has been a benefit to me, not only when I was in practice, understanding the various arguments that the parties will make. By the nature of being in a small town, I represented plaintiffs and defendants. As was stated, I was a prosecutor and also did criminal defense work as a CJA panel attorney in the Western District. And all of that varied experience, I believe, gives me a unique perspective that has helped me on the state court bench, certainly. And I believe it would also benefit me if I'm fortunate enough to be confirmed to the federal district court.
Thank you.